So the White House Correspondents' Dinner was Saturday, and it's a bomb, it's dead, it's all of that. But there was some interesting parts to it. One of them was a reporter named Alex Thompson. And he works for Axios. He's got a book coming out about Biden. Anyway, he got up there, Thompson did, and he kind of scolded the press. Roll it.
President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. But being truth tellers also means telling the truth about ourselves. We, myself included, missed a lot of this story, and some people trust us less because of it. We bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows.
Okay, that's an honest statement. But how could they miss the story? I didn't miss the story. I had it from day one, and I reported it honestly, that President Biden was diminished, that he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, if you go to our archives on BillO'Reilly.com, you'll see. I gave Biden a chance. I wanted him to succeed because I love my country and I respect the office of the presidency. No partisan garbage here. We don't do that. Okay? But it was obvious that the man couldn't talk to the press, wasn't available to anybody, had no solution to any problem at all. In fact, his executive orders made the problems worse, and had trouble even speaking in front of a camera. So when Mr. Thompson says we missed a lot of this story, it's impossible. Now, here's what happened. This is the truth. So Thompson and 85% of the media working in America, they live in a bubble. Okay? And it doesn't matter whether you're liberal or conservative, you're still in a bubble. Because all you hear is what the ideology of your corporation is. So, for example, if you work for PBS and you go to work with a MAGA cap, baseball hat, okay? And you walk into the newsroom in New York City and people see the MAGA hat, you're through. Your career is over. There is a culture. Same thing at the New York Times. Same thing at all the networks. You cannot go in there favoring Donald Trump. But if you favor Joe Biden, that's fine. You can do that, and everybody will buy a drink, and you can have lunch and coffee and everything, and everybody will be swell. That is called a culture. Now, a few years ago, Fox News was exposed and had to pay almost $1 billion for a election misreporting about these machines. You remember the case. And then it came to light that the culture was, look, we can't tell our audience that Trump lost. We can't do it because our audience don't want to hear that. When I did that, I lost thousands of premium members on BillO'Reilly.com. They canceled their subscriptions. And I knew that was going to happen because we have people who are conservative or Republican, and they didn't want to hear that Donald Trump lost the election in 2020, but he did. Now, should there have been an investigation? Yeah, there should have been. Absolutely. Were there individual incidents of fraud? Yes, there were. But it will go down in the annals of history as a Democratic win. Okay, so the culture at Fox News was, we can't go against our audience. And that is the culture on the liberal networks, including Axios and this guy. Now, I give Alex Thompson credit for saying what he said in front of those pinheads in D.C. Took some guts to do that because they don't want to hear that. But he didn't explain it. When you work in any corporation, not to be media, anywhere, and there is a quote unquote prevailing wisdom, and you go against that wisdom, you're done. You're done in that corporation. Which is why I'm so pleased that I work for myself now. And I don't impose that on any of my people. I don't even know what my people believe. My executive producer at the O'Reilly Factor was a raging liberal. He still to this day. All right? I didn't care. He was a good producer. I worked with him at ABC News, where the culture was, when I was working for Peter Jennings, liberal. But it wasn't an imposition there. Okay? You didn't get punished if you held an opposing point of view from ABC liberal. Now you do. Now you do. If you work at ABC, CBS, or NBC and you hold an opposing point of view to their liberal culture, they punish you. You know, we remember when I had Confronting the Presidents last fall, and I was on doing media to publicize the book, we couldn't get on any of the network shows. And I appealed directly to Jane Pauley, and we researched the CBS Sunday morning show that Pauley anchors. They didn't put on not one conservative author in the whole year. Not one. That's a culture. And that is why they missed the story, because they didn't want to know about Joe Biden. That's not journalism. That's not even close to journalism. That's promote the corporate culture. No. Once you do that, your industry is shot. And that's why very few Americans trust the national media. And it's seeped into local too. You know, I've been in this business 50 years and I've worked all over the country. And I know what I'm doing. I know who the people are that run the operations. Most of them aren't even journalists now. Journalists don't run the news departments. They're corporate zombies. They get them out. I don't know where they get them. And they're in there to make money. That's all I care about. Money, 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 money. And the way you make money is you talk to the choir. You tell the choir, we're going to give you this every night. Every night we're going to say we hate Trump. Every night. And while we might not love Biden, we're certainly going to report on him accurately because that might help Trump. And the converse is true. So if you listen to talk radio and a conservative broadcast, and then someday the guy comes on and says, I think Trump blew it here. You're not going to hear that very much. You're just not. And that is the big change in America. When I was coming up, you had the culture. Certainly when I worked for CBS as a correspondent, Dan Rather was very liberal. And he allowed his personal political philosophy to seep in to the CBS broadcast. I asked Bernie Goldberg. He wrote a book on it. Jennings was liberal, but didn't allow that. He had a firewall. I was much more comfortable. Well, it's beyond, it was like two different worlds. CBS, I got out of there fast. And they were happy to see me go. And ABC, I got on World News more than 100 times. Thanks to Peter Jennings, by the way, who was a big backer of mine. So you don't just miss stories that are obvious, like Joe Biden, who's the second worst president in our history. And it'll come to light. I guess this book that Alex Thompson is writing exposes some of that. But you didn't miss the story, Alex. It was the culture you didn't want to go up against. And that's what the message should have been to these pinheads in Washington on Saturday night. Knock that culture out. That's not what journalism is. Journalism is telling the truth. All right? Getting the story. Thank you for listening to me, Bill O'Reilly. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, Sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.